Captain Jake had flown through countless storms at 35,000 feet, but he never expected the most unpredictable turbulence of his life to happen on the ground. Over 4 unforgettable nights with the alluring and enigmatic lead flight attendant, Elena. The unexpected invitation. Jake was used to long days and quiet hotel nights on his rotations. His focus was always on safety and professionalism, but something about this trip felt different. It started the moment Elena boarded the cockpit during pre-flight checks with a mischievous smile. "You might want to check the temperature on your layover plans," she teased. "I've got a feeling tonight might be lively." By the time they landed in Miami, Jake couldn't ignore the pull. Elena suggested they head to Little Havana. The vibrant streets pulsed with music, and over mojitos and a shared plate of ropa vieja, they began to unravel each other's guarded lives. Jake shared stories of his military flying days, and Elena revealed her dream of opening a vineyard someday. A surprising passion for someone always in the sky. As the evening wore on, she led him to a salsa bar. Jake, ever the captain, was hesitant to relinquish control, but with her hand in his and the music guiding them, he forgot everything but the moment. When they returned to the hotel, the unspoken tension between them simmered, but both chose restraint. Elena's parting words at her door stayed with him. "You're good at flying planes, Captain, but let's see if you can navigate what's next." The second night took them to New York City, and as the crew checked into their Manhattan hotel, Elena sent Jake a message. "Meet me on the rooftop in an hour. Trust me." Jake arrived to find Elena waiting with 2 tickets to a helicopter tour of the city. An ironic gesture, given they spent their lives in the air. "Consider this my turn to captain," she said with a wink. As they soared above the city's glittering skyline, the shared thrill and adrenaline broke down barriers. Elena wasn't just bold and charming, she was magnetic, and for the first time in years, Jake let his walls come down. After the tour, they ended up at an upscale jazz lounge where the dim lights and haunting melodies created an intimacy neither could resist. By the end of the night, Jake couldn't help but lean closer, their conversation fading into the background. As their lips finally met, it was as if the city itself held its breath. But even in that moment of closeness, Jake felt a flicker of fear. He was falling for someone whose life was just as transient as his. The third night brought them to Chicago, where the city was gripped by an early winter storm. Instead of venturing out, Elena suggested a quieter evening, room service and a bottle of wine she'd tucked into her luggage. As the wind howled outside, their conversation deepened. Jake confessed the weight of the responsibility he carried every day, not just for his passengers, but for his younger brother, who looked up to him like a father. Elena listened intently, her usual playful demeanor replaced by something softer, more vulnerable. In turn, she revealed the reason for her endless wanderlust, a heartbreak that had left her afraid to stay in one place for too long. "Maybe," Jake said, his voice low. "You're not afraid of staying. Maybe you're afraid of finding something worth staying for." The tension was palpable, but before either could respond, a call from dispatch came through. Their flight for the next morning was delayed. They had another night together, and the possibilities were endless. Their final layover brought them to Denver, where Elena planned one last adventure, a late-night drive into the Rockies to watch the sunrise. As they wound through the mountain roads, Jake couldn't help but wonder what would happen when this rotation ended. At the peak, wrapped in blankets against the biting cold, Elena turned to him. "This is the part I hate," she said. "The goodbye, the uncertainty." Jake took her hand, his voice steady. "Then don't make it a goodbye. Stay grounded for once. With me." Her eyes filled with something he hadn't seen before. Fear, hope, and longing all at once. The sunrise painted the horizon in brilliant colors, but Jake only saw her. 4 days, 4 cities, and countless moments had brought them here. But as the sun rose, one question remained. Would Elena choose to stay? Or was she destined to keep chasing horizons without looking back? As their flight back to Dallas boarded, Elena turned to Jake. "I need to tell you something," she began. The PA crackled, calling for boarding. "But maybe it's better if I show you, after we land." What came next would change both their lives forever.